And we know what a second Trump term would look like. It's all laid out in Project 2025, written by his closest advisors. And its sum total is to pull our country back to the past. But America, we are not going back. We are not going back.
Trump, as you know, has repeatedly tried to distance himself from Project 2025, falsely claiming he has, quote, nothing to do with it. But Democrats wouldn't let him off that easy at the DNC.
This is the Republican blueprint for a second Trump term. That's right.
It's interesting because usually Republicans want to ban books, but now they're trying to shove this down our throats.
Such talented orators. State Senator McMurrow and State Representative Kenyatta are both back with us.
So I think something that we were discussing, not about the size of the book, but how did this even come about? How were each of you approached in participating on this particular topic? Because, you know, Representative Kenyatta, you could have gave a whole sermon up there about housing or the work on gun violence that you've been doing in Pennsylvania. State Senator McMurrow, there were many other things you could have talked about. You've emerged as a stalwart voice on January 6th. Why Project 2025 for both of you? I'll start with you, Representative Kenyatta.
Yeah, I think, you know, this election is about the future. And what Project 2025 lays out is the dark horror story future that Donald Trump sees for this country. One where we give this guy all the power to make critical decisions about our lives. We give this guy and this party the ability to further try to rein in people's personal control over their own bodies. And we're not going back. You know, I said, you know, in my remarks, I recounted a story about my grandmother, who her and my grandfather are deeply involved in the civil rights movement. And during the Trump term, she called me and said, like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, you all are going through this. I thought we had figured this stuff out. And I said, no, Grandma, it's our turn. It really is our turn to stand up and preserve our democracy. And I will tell you, there is a whole generation of leaders who are ready to fight for the country we love, who don't buy into Donald Trump's nonsense that we are a crappy place. This is an incredible country. And our work is to make sure that every single person can benefit from the greatness of this nation. And we are ready to fight for it.
Senator, what about you?
Yeah, so for me at this point, I think everybody knows who Donald Trump is. And in a place like Michigan, this is a battleground state. We are still the home of a lot of really good, decent, hardworking, moderate Republicans. And I think what is important, this campaign right now feels very joyous and hopeful, and there's a lot of positive energy around Kamala Harris and Tim Walz that we're going to need to go forward to November. But I still think it's really important to draw a contrast. And what is terrifying about this document is that this is a plan that the Heritage Foundation created with more than 140 Trump administration officials, likely the people he would hire in a second Trump administration, for the first 180 days. And it includes things like not only a national abortion ban, but it would compel states to report on women's miscarriages, which is just a dystopian nightmare that none of us want to not even go back to, but go to, because that has never been a reality for women. And I think when I think about those voters, the people who are still on the fence, who may not consider themselves Democrats, a lot of the very people who voted for me in my first election, this is something that the more they learn about it, the more they dislike it. And were just while I was at the convention, 2 mailers that went out from the GOP to voters here in Michigan, again, trying to disavow any knowledge that Donald Trump has from Project 2025, because they know how much of a liability it is. But they wrote the plans down, and people need to know about it.
It's interesting. I love that. That's the last point, Senator, is the key point. You own it because you wrote it.
Right.
I'm sorry, you can't sit there and say, you know, that would be like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John coming back on. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I have no idea. Jesus, yeah. I heard he walked, but I wasn't in the room.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just not believable. And I think what you both did, along with others who came out over those 4 days to sort of frame this story around Project 2025 was very, very important. And I think another very important aspect of this, because both of you know, as elected officials, when you talk to your constituents, things can get a little bit nerdy and a little bit weedy, and eyes glaze over, and people go, well, is it really that important, right? So our friend Kenan Thompson wanted to put it in the proper perspective. And so let's take a little listen of how he approached the issue of Project 2025.
Now, Becky, you're married, correct?
I am. Me and my wife have been together for about 8 years.
Oh, that's amazing. Very, very cute.
Thanks.
But I have got some bad news for you.
I hate that.
On page 584, Project 2025 calls for the elimination of protections for LGBTQ plus Americans. So yeah, right back to the Stone Age. I'm afraid so.
Right back.
So you get the page reference, you get the humor, you get a clarifying understanding, Senator, of what this thing is and what it means to the American people.
That's exactly right. If you tell anybody Project 2025 is a 923-page policy document. I read it because I'm a little bit of a masochist, but I don't advise that most people read all 923 pages. But what's in it is really important. And I was proud to be kind of a part of this plan that we had throughout the convention to highlight what it is. I think the size of the book mattered because it showed that this is a big document in a way that really connects with people, and then breaking it down in a very common sense way that gets beyond legalese and policy plans. Kenan's bit was brilliant, bringing on person after person after person. We heard that story. There was another lifelong civil servant who talked about the decades that she served in a State Department, and he said, that's wonderful. Your job is gone now. And I think once you distill it into very bite-sized pieces that people can understand. And oh, by the way, in every bite-sized piece, it seems to get worse and worse. I think it's, at least for me, an effective way to communicate what this is in a way that anybody can understand.
Well, and especially, say, Senator, because it makes it about the individual, right? It makes it about the fact that this is actually going to impact individual Americans. And I also thought that Debbie Wasserman Schultz did a really good job of saying, this isn't just a thing that is going to happen. This is a thing that is already underway. Just take a look at what Ron DeSantis has done in Florida. And if you want America to be as Florida is now, go for it. But if this frightens you, if limiting what children can read and learn in school, if limiting talk about gender and kids being able to go to their counselor and say, I need to talk to someone, can I talk to you, bothers you, then perhaps you don't want this. Malcolm, I'm going to give you the last word.
No, I think that's absolutely right. Part of what we did throughout this convention was give people a study guide. You don't have to read the full thing, but there are some really important points and some fundamental freedoms that are at stake. And Donald Trump tried to do some of these things the last time he was president, particularly the Schedule F, which is firing, smart, capable experts in their fields who are all throughout federal government. He tried to do those things. He wasn't successful. But because of his Supreme Court appointments and the absolute permission slip that they gave him to act with impunity, he's going to be able to finish the job. We're not going back to the dark version of Donald Trump's America. We're going forward to an America that sees all of us, an America where we all matter, and an America where we can all engage in the most beautiful part of the process, to vote with respect and have that vote respected, to control our own bodies, and to have a job that is family sustaining and to live a life free from violence. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're going to deliver when we elect Kamala Harris and Democrats up and down the ballot.
Pennsylvania State Representative Malcolm Kenyatta and Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, thank you both so much for being with us this morning.